Mark Harlan, Utah athletic director, almost said BYU athletic director, a little bit different there. He has finally changed his tune on the Big 12, it would appear. Famously, of course, Mark Harlan went off on Big 12 officiating after the BYU game and said that he was not happy to be a part of the conference, or not at that moment excited to be in the conference, I believe was the wording there, which raised a lot of eyebrows when you already had a fan base that seemingly had been very disenchanted with joining the truck stop conference since they came in from day one. So Mark Harlan is changing his tune now. And he also, I would say, raised a fair warning to the rest of the league about Utah football, which I tend to agree with. I really do. So first, let's get to the Kyle Whittingham part of this. This is what Mark Harlan said about Kyle Whittingham. There are going to be questions about it, right? You've already named Morgan Scalley as the head coach in waiting. You've got a guy on staff there. That means you expect the end for Whittingham to be coming at some point. And there was at least some period of discussion or waiting to see what was going to happen this offseason with Kyle Whittingham and whether or not he would come back. He did. And Harlan seems to think that he's pretty energized. Said, quote, at the end of the year, we talked about what Kyle was feeling. He asked for a little bit more time to go through the process in his head. We had that last game and came back, and he took the time he needed. He and President Randall and I, he said, guys, I want to come back. I want to get this thing back to where I know it should be. And then Harlan said, I could see the fire coming out. Since that moment, it's been as it usually is, but it seems even more so. Just a sprint to get things right that we want to get right. To retain the lion's share of the must-havers for a great offseason for the Utes. So he could see the fire coming out, and it seems even more so. Mark Harlan is trying to tell you that this is not a guy on fumes. This is not a guy that just decided like, oh, hey, I guess I'll come back and collect a paycheck for another year. He is telling you that he's more fired up than ever because presumably not so much just because like, hey, I was thinking about retirement. I'm sure this is much more about look at how the program has slipped over the last couple of years. And it was frankly an embarrassing year for the Utah football program this year in year one in the Big 12. Could this very much be like a coach speak thing? Of course it could be. Of course. This is just like when we're right about at spring training time, right? In Major League Baseball, I guess we are here at spring training time. This is the time of year you see a million stories talking about so-and-so being in the best shape of their life. Hey, man, they came in the best shape of their life. Like never has there been more dedication to their craft and their body and making sure that they're prepared. You get that from everybody. Some of it's true. Some of it's blowing smoke. Most of it won't really matter when it comes to the actual season. So you can file this very much under the same sort of category. But I just want to continue issuing my warning here. If I wanted to take this as ammo and package it into my take that I think Utah is a very sneaky team to watch out for this year to flip their way back up, inverse the Big 12 standings and get up near the top this year, I think that's very much a possibility. And it doesn't hurt that I'm seeing Mark Harlan, the athletic director at Utah, saying, hey, this is a guy who's really fired up right now. This is like college football Hall of Fame caliber head coach who's really fired up right now and motivated by what happened last season. I have no doubt he is. Whether or not that translates, whether or not that works over a whole season, honestly, I think most of it will just come down to, like, do they get the quarterback right? That is the crazy thing. You can talk about how motivated you are. Do you get the quarterback right? Does he stay healthy? He's a guy that runs a lot. Is he going to stay healthy? You dealt with that with not just Cam Rising, but virtually the entire quarterback room here over the last couple of years. So it's a lot to think about, and that's what it is going to largely hinge on. Now, the guy's got to be good, too. Did you hit on the quarterback? They're going to have a good defense. Does anybody have a doubt about that Kyle Whittingham's going to put together a good defense next year for Utah? Like, I have zero doubts about that. But you've got a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterback coming in this year. It's a lot of change on the offensive side of the ball. Got to make sure that it locks in and works. But to me, it gives you some really high upside as opposed to just sticking it out and rolling with Andy Ludwig again. That was not going to give you the type of upside that this does. So I'm just saying, watch out, people. Now, as far as the Big 12 goes, all right, thoughts on the Big 12. Mark Harlan, when asked about how they're feeling about being in the Big 12 right now, said, quote, "I feel really good about it. We did a lot of studying and research, and Tom Holmoe was really helpful last year. We're on the other side of the halfway point. A couple things really stand out. One of the things we expected, no matter where you go, you're walking into full arenas. I don't want to disparage where we came from, but that was something you didn't see often. Everybody's adapting very well." Now, that's really all we got in terms of talking about the Big 12, and that's focusing it on just one point that seemingly was an obvious point, as he kind of said, like, hey, we came into the league, we knew that this would be something that would be true. But I do have a lot of reaction to this. Number one, whether or not you're taking this as like how much he means this or really cares about it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is he's feeling compelled to say good things about the league, right? Feeling compelled to do interviews and say fairly positive things about the league, finding something positive to say. I don't care if he's doing it through gritted teeth, and I don't care if the fan base really likes it or not. You know, if they feel stuck, like they're not going anywhere. So I really don't. It's just up to. I mean, Utah fans, I would love for you guys to be happy and just enjoy your day-to-day life a little bit more. So if you were more accepting of your life in this new conference, I think that could help you very much so. But I can't force that on you. I just need your athletic director to like not be a problem, like not be a public problem. So this is a step in that direction, right? This is a step in that direction. That's where it'll start to get up a level beyond Utah fans into the Big 12 and being like, okay, if you're going to go 5-7 and then be talking about how much you hate the conference and it's rigged, like not a good look and not something that's going to arrive on Brett Yormark's desk without some sort of punishment happening there. So this is good. This is good. We're not seeing that. You're right. Pacific Northwest USCU. It's the apology tour for sure. Also, his comments are objectively true, right? In the Pac-12, I was trying to think about this. Like I was thinking Pac-12 basketball arenas, and maybe Utah fans who are here in the chat tonight can help me out a little bit. Was there a consistently packed basketball arena in the Pac-12? I was like, football, you've got Autzen, which is obviously near the top of the sport in college football in terms of loud, packed, great environments. But outside of that, like what is in the Pac-12 on that front? Like any kind of, I mean, UCLA's not packing it, right? Pauley Pavilion's not packed these days. I can't imagine. I don't know who you have that's like an intimidating atmosphere. And you got a lot of those in the Big 12, man. Not just football, but yeah, like Texas Tech is a great example. I was about to mention Texas Tech basketball, but Texas Tech football too. You know, I mean, you walk into either one of those stadiums, like you're going to have a really raucous crowd on your hands, tough place to win. You know, football, K-State, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. There's so many good atmospheres across the league that you just don't get game in, game out in the Pac-12. So very Arizona. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I wasn't thinking of Arizona because Arizona is now in the Big 12. Yes, you are correct. You'd have Arizona basketball. You'd have Oregon football where you know you're going to walk into a packed, tough arena. I don't know outside of that what you're really expecting to get there. And finally, look, I just want to say on this front, especially because, you know, I'm seeing the eye patch, who I know has been talking in here as a Utah fan throughout the chat tonight. I respect Mark Harlan. Now, I don't respect how he acted after the BYU game. It's something that clearly we've now seen from multiple angles was a holding call, and that was not the correct way to act. But I respect the guy's, like, he clearly has acumen as a good administrator in college athletics. I don't think he's a dummy. I don't think Utah's running a poor athletic department or anything like that. I don't think you get to where he's at by being some sort of dummy. So I think it probably is wise to go on an apology tour, regardless of what you think, Eye Patch. I think it is pretty wise, and I think he's somebody that does want to rebuild that reputation and knows it's going to be best for his programs if there's not a crazy amount of tension all the time between them and the league. And I think this year was evidence of that. Like you had all that, you had this chip on your shoulder, maybe not even really chip on your shoulder, like thumbing your nose at the league as you come in, and you got humbled really fast. Say what you will about what caused it. It was a humbling ass football season for the Utah football program. Pick yourself up, be a little bit more chill, be a little bit more humble, see what happens. That seems to be the tone that you're getting here from Mark Harlan in Utah. I think it's smart. I think it's smart.